woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn. You lost your edge, she lost attraction for you. That's how it works. What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated? Men cannot afford to get complacent in relationships. Get your fat ass off the couch, start lifting weights, and learn game. You're welcome.
And now your man,
Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 282nd edition of TSR Primetime, your daily dose of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. We are presented by Happy Hippo Herbals, home of the highest quality kratom on the planet. Visit happyhippoherbals.com today and save an additional 25% when you pay with Bitcoin. It is Monday, June 25th, 2018. We are streaming live simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and of course, DonovanSharpe.com. 7 different channels across 4 different platforms. So welcome in, everyone. It is good to have you guys in tonight, however you are watching. The call-in number, 914-205-5356. That's 914-205-5356. That's the number to call if you want to tell me what's on your mind. You can hit me or my guest with questions, comments, show ideas, personal stories you'd like to share, or anything else you want to get off your chest. If you don't want to call, you can always chat. It is right next to the video player. If the video is running a little bit slow on your end, click on the video-only link just beneath the player, and that should do the trick. As usual, you guys can follow, add, and like me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just do a quick search for Donovan Sharpe on all things Donovan Sharpe. For all things Donovan Sharpe, go to DonovanSharpe.com. There you will find the TSR Primetime archive, as well as a backlog of over 200 articles I've written for ReturnOfKings.com, as well as NegroManosphere.com over the last 6+ years. Let's get to it, gentlemen. My guest tonight is who I call the Black Unicorn, right? I was going to surprise you with that. Guys, listen, this dude's got a physics degree, and he's a professional heavyweight boxer with a record of 13-1, 7 knockouts, and he's written 2 books. One of those 2 books is called The 4 Confidences. The other one is called Not Caring What Other People Think is a Superpower. He is also going to be a featured speaker at this year's 21 convention down in Orlando this October. It is my pleasure to introduce to you guys the real most interesting man in the world, Ed Latimore. Ed, how you doing tonight, man? Woo! Hey, look, all you need is those glasses, right? The one that, like, sat on his face. Okay, well, listen, obviously, anyone who follows you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to your website, your story is fascinating. You are a boxer with a physics degree, and we're going to get to all of that here in just a second, but let's take it from the top here. How did you first get into boxing? How did you become a professional fighter? Hang on, Ed. Hang on just a second. I'm hearing that they cannot hear you. So give me 1 second. Yeah, hold on. I think this might be on my end. Give me a second here. Give me just a second. Okay, there we go. Say something.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. I can hear. Listen, guys. Again, that's totally my mistake. I'm working with a soundboard here, and I forgot to switch over the sound. So let's take it from the top. How did you become a professional boxer? I guess start off with the whole amateur thing, and then take it from there. I think we lost
right, because before you're a professional, you're an amateur,
right?
And I started as an amateur. I went into a gym one day after I had got out of a 4-year relationship with this girl, and she didn't like. I wasn't like angry. I needed to go punch stuff out. Her mom just used to make fun of me. Well, not make fun of me. I mean, she scolded me out because I used to always talk a lot of shit on college, and she said, "Well, what have you done for 4 years? You know, even if it isn't college." And I said, "Man, you right. Like that really burned my soul."
Okay.
So I went and was like, you know, let me put some sweat equity into something. And the first thing that I wanted to try, I think YouTube was just coming out. I watched some videos. I said, let me go try fighting. Notice I said fighting, not boxing.
Right.
I didn't go into the street. For the first year of my training, I did everything. I was either at the boxing gym, the kickboxing gym, or jiu-jitsu or judo for a year, and then through size differences and what was available to me, competition and sparring wise, eventually, and my body type too. That's important.
Sure.
I eventually went with boxing and just stuck with that.
Good, very good. So, talk to me about your very first amateur fight. What were so you know? Oh wow, that sounds like a good story. What you got for us?
Dude, my first amateur fight was like a sub novice category of Golden Gloves. Those of you not in the know of amateur boxing, you are your first 0 to 3 is sub novice.
Okay.
3 to 11 fights is novice, and then anything 11 or more, or maybe 10 or more, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Is open, and that's where you can win all the real titles, Golden Gloves, USA National, Olympics, stuff like that. So my first fight was in the sub-novice category, obviously, and I went and fought a guy, and I didn't know what I was really doing. I didn't have any defense or anything, and I just
Deontay Wilder.
I caught the guy with a great, very vicious, violent hook, and he just went stiff board down, and I was so high. I kind of danced over him. I remember that, and now I have the discipline to know, walk to the corner.
Right.
But then then I was like, oh cool, man, this is fun, and then I went out for pizza. I remember that. I went out for pizza.
Knock somebody out, went out for pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your first amateur fight. How many amateur fights do you have to have? Because listen, I mean, Floyd Mayweather Jr., I think he fought like 200. A lot of people, how did Floyd get so good? Floyd fought 225 amateur fights before he turned pro. That's why he's a magician.
Same with Triple G.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I think almost 400.
Unbelievable. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that these boxers don't just come out of nowhere. They come up through the ranks. How's this guy 15-0 with 14 knockouts? The guy fought 250-something amateur fights. The guy knows what he's doing. So how many amateur fights did you fight before you turned pro?
I think my record 41-11, so I fought almost 60 amateur fights.
God damn, man. Good Lord, man. So
yeah, and that's not even a lot. Like I mean, sure. Because it was, and I got really fortunate in my amateur career because there really were not any fights locally where I lived. But the year 2011, I won the Pennsylvania State Open Golden Gloves.
Okay. So
I went to the Nationals, and then the guy I fought in the first round of the Nationals is now a really big professional now, Dominic Brazil, and I beat him. And then I went 2 steps further in the tournament, and the people that were funding Dominic's training saw me and recruited me to the program they were building out there that's now defunct, All-American Heavyweights. It also produced Charles Martin, who was a heavyweight champion.
Whoa. Wait a minute. You rolled with those guys?
Yeah. I got pictures. I got to put some stuff up. We were all training together, living together for 2.5 years, sparring and competing. I fought Dominic beat me the second time, so I'm 1-1 against Dominic. I beat Charles twice as an amateur. So I get there, and a few other notable amateurs. That's how I met my buddy Cam.
Okay.
We the first time
Cam
we fought,
Awesome, right? I think his name is Cam Awesome on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
The first time we met, we fought at the Ringside Nationals in the finals. Or the first time we met, we fought. He beat me, and beat me bad. I mean, he doesn't have like power, but he knows how to fight, and
he's a boxer.
He put a pretty good hurting on me. And then we never fought again, but we ended up becoming roommate. They brought him out to LA because they wanted to figure out how to beat Cam, because Cam was running the heavyweight and amateur scene for a long time. For easily over half a decade, and they were like, all right, we can't beat this guy. Let's join them.
That's right.
So they brought him out, and I was the only apartment that had open space, so we lived together for like 4 months, man. He met all my good friends when they came out, and so
you guys were close then. You guys were cool.
Oh yeah. I think I'm about to go. I was gonna fight in New Zealand. He was gonna come out and be my sparring partner, but that fell through. So now I'm probably gonna go see him sometime. He's gonna be on the East Coast in the next month or so. I'll go figure out where he's at.
Let's stay off topic here. We'll stay on boxing. Canelo versus Triple G, right? That's back on September 15th in Las Vegas. Of course, everybody knows, anyone who follows boxing know Canelo Alvarez failed twice for clenbuterol. You're a boxer, right? So why would listen? I'm told, and I'm not a professional fighter, right? I mean, I've been in fights, but I'm not a professional fighter. But in the fitness world, clenbuterol is used to cut weight. What do guys use in the boxing world? Is it used for the same thing?
Oh, for sure. Now, here's the cool thing about Clen, right? And to anybody who knows the game and been watching Canelo for the last, I mean, this month, I mean, you're always in shape, and then
he's always in good shape.
He's showing up like, I mean, ripped. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
So why would these guys do that? Because they fight at a weight class. I believe that fight is going to be at 154.
Yeah, it's at 154. Sure. It's 154.
Yeah,
yep.
154. So if you can get more muscle in at 154, because you're not taking Clen throughout the camp, right?
Sure,
because you're not, right? You're taking Clen in all your training, so you can keep your body fat low, but build muscle up in place of it, so you can have a bigger advantage at your weight class.
Okay. So if you fought a guy, if you fought a guy who tested positive for Clen, would you have a problem with that, or would you say, yeah, that's part of the game?
Oh man.
Or would you say, hey, listen, man, who's your supplier, right? Like, hook me up.
Okay, so here's the thing. At that level, at the highest level, that's when that shit starts to make a difference.
Okay, gotcha. The big money fights, the 7-8 figure fights.
Well, not only big money, but more importantly, big skill.
Sure.
We're talking arguably, two guys. They're not even arguably. Those are Hall of Famers.
Yes,
Hall of Famers
easy, absolutely. Yeah.
And so when two future Hall of Famers fight with that level of skill, that record, they are not. The smallest thing is going to make a difference.
It's a game of inches, right? That's exactly.
I mean,
right.
I'm looking at some of the shots, that Alvarez ate. I mean, and to his credit, GGG ate too. But I'm just like, goodness gracious, and we're not just talking about they got punched thing or wobble. Man, he walked through some monstrous shots.
Right. They both have cast iron jaws, right? Like they both have a strong chin.
What you got to have at that level.
That's
you
right.
Can't, because you're going to get hit. The question is, are you going to have your consciousness altered when you do? Right. And a lot of these guys, if you get to that level, you can take a punch for sure.
Okay. So you talked about your first amateur fight. Talk about your first professional fight. Right now, you're in the big leagues. What's going through your mind, and how are you getting yourself? Because we're not fighting amateurs anymore. Like, these are guys who do this. Listen, this is that GA. This is that GA job. Like, can't go back. Right. Like, you're fighting dudes. Listen, if I don't win this fight, I can't go back home. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So here's a little secret, right? Not really a secret. When you fight at the level of amateur that I fought at, and I fought I didn't go international. That's the only thing I didn't do.
Okay.
You fought way better guys than you're gonna fight your first few fights. Just the way the game is set up, right?
Okay.
So they felt pretty confident putting me in there with a guy that was 4-1, which is monstrous for your pro debut.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
You don't fight someone with a winning record who's only lost once. And on top of that, he was a southpaw. So I'm in there against two things. My first fight that a lot of guys don't go in there. You try to avoid southpaws if you can, for real.
Yeah, right.
And a guy 4-1 is certainly has not resigned himself to be an opponent yet. The fight was hard. I was actually losing on the scorecards, I think, one of the cards for sure, coming into the third round. But the third round, I managed to land a right hand over the top of his retracting left and got a good knockdown and knocked him out. So in terms of what I was thinking, I just figured, okay, you got to be kind of dumb when you're a fighter. And in many ways, this has been my drawback in my career, is that I'm not stupid, and you'll see what I mean.
Obviously, right? You got a fucking physics degree. Obviously, you're not stupid.
I know how to dumb myself down enough. And here's an example. Going into this fight, the guy's 4-1 in the southpaw on paper.
Okay.
So for my level of accomplishment, that's probably not a good idea. And thinking back on it, and I think maybe I thought that then, but my trainers just say, "You got this. Train and we'll beat them." And I'm like,
okay,
word, okay, let's go. So I I don't feel anything akin to nerves because you can't really pay attention to that.
Sure,
It's
right.
not that you aren't nervous. It's that what are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on, okay, I did a great job as an amateur. I got a national title. I trained and fought with the best. This guy's just, chump change. He didn't even have an amateur career.
Right.
Or do I focus on the fact that he's 4-1 and left-handed?
Right. That's it. Right. So it's almost like you have to. It's almost like you have to. And correct me if I'm wrong here. It's almost like you have to simplify it in your mind a little bit. In other words, you don't have time to be scared, right?
Exactly. Okay. And then once you get in there, I always say, man, 10-ounce gloves tell no lies, man.
Ain't that the goddamn truth?
Once you get in there, and you like that, the first time I got, my legs wobble was in that fight. And I was like, okay, I'm here, but I'm in shape. I'm training. He's starting to get tired. I did the right things. And you don't know that until you get in there. I mean, look, everybody's got questions. I could have went in there and lost my first fight, and who knows how my life turns out as a result of that.
Sure.
But I go in there you go to your fight, man. You go to fight, and you get hurt, you get bruised, you get beat up. You know what blew my mind? How sore I was. I took a week off for my first fight.
Wow! And you trained so many hours. You fought what? How long was the fight? 5, maybe 8 rounds?
3. I think I stopped him with like a minute left in the third, so I would have fought.
Wow, you were still sore.
About 7 minutes.
Wow.
Or 8 minutes, I guess.
How about that?
So yeah, it's an experience, man. I tell every guy that he should compete at least amateur because like lifting and being jacked is cool.
Sure, but I mean it doesn't do anything for you.
When you can throw hands and know you can take a punch, that's a different level of confidence. Even if you don't do it at the highest levels, you know that you can get in there and bang with somebody. Right. Somebody roll up on you, you don't have to go all chicken shit. You can really, stand your ground. Now they got a pistol. That's
that changes the game.
It doesn't
right?
make you smarter. It just makes you tougher. That's all.
Let me ask you this: in the ring, and I guess we'll get into the nitty gritty here. How can you tell your opponent is tired? So you're in there. It's the 4th round. You guys are dancing around. Now you told me that you could tell he was getting tired. Was he breathing heavy? Were his legs not moving? How can you tell how can you tell a fighter is losing his wind?
Punch volume for sure.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
At the lower levels, punch volume is just a big giveaway.
Sure.
And you'll see it too. I mean, it is a steep decline. The lower the level, the steeper the decline.
Okay.
You'll have guys come out, black gun, all hands on deck, man, just blasting away in the first round, and then the second round they turn turtles. They just shell up and try to begin, and they're trying to take what they see. So that's the first sign when when the guy's offensive output slows down, he's getting tired, and then he's not as agile, man. You get these guys that are, I don't call them runners. I'll never disrespect somebody that way in the ring, but they definitely are. They dance
a little more defensive, right?
Yeah, more defensive. Or I would say evasive. That's the word.
There you go.
Not so much defensive. Because you got to do what you got to do, and clinching too, man. When you
when you get in close,
and the funny thing about clinching is clinching uses up a lot of energy, man. Because a smart fighter is like, oh, you want to clinch? I'm gonna make you pay for it. I'm gonna make you expend as much energy as possible until the ref gets in here, and because you're the one trying to hold or contain me, however tired I feel, I know you did a little more.
How about that? Wow, I would never have thought about that.
Why? From now on, when you watch fights, man, look at the later rounds. How much more clinching occurs?
All right. Okay.
You're gonna be like, wow, that's nuts.
Listen, I'll tell you what. There was no clinching in the Arturo Gatti Mickey Ward trilogy.
Oh
that's for
man,
sure.
What a great fight!
Those
guys, man. Mickey Ward or Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti is my favorite tough guy fighter. Him and Roberto Duran.
Oh my God, yeah, you better believe it, man. Hands of stone, brother.
Oh, for sure. Those guys, they were real tough guys. There's just not, and I don't think you should fight that way. Floyd Mayweather said it best. I may not getting hit. Cool,
that's what I'm saying. He said it's a boxing match, not a fight. That's what he said.
And but at the same time, it's not like these guys. not Roberto Duran anyway. You can say what you want about Arturo Gatti.
Sure.
I mean, Roberto Duran had fantastic defense, you know.
Yeah, he was awesome.
But he was not afraid to get in there and bang and make you pay and really knock you up. I mean, you look at the that famous fight, the No Mas fight.
Oh yeah, Sugar Ray versus Roberto Duran. Yeah.
Right,
absolutely.
The first one where he
beat.
The first one where he beat Sugar Ray,
right?
I mean,
and
that was an inside bang all the way. I mean,
that was Duran's fight. Yeah, that was his fight. But the second fight, Sugar Ray danced around so much, I tired him out at the 8th round. He said, "No mas."
Frustrated him, wore him out. He was like, "Nah, I'm done." You know, so
he said, "No mas."
So and it wore him out. He was cutting weight and stuff. So.
Oh yeah. So he was already weak. One more, dude. I could talk boxing with you all day. One more question here. On the boxing side before we move on to the physics. You said getting in there and banging, going toe to toe. The whole, I hit you, you hit me. The Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti trilogy. You said that's not the way to fight. The way to fight is Floyd Mayweather. The fighter that I think, and there are many fighters who are the classic example, they call them punch drunk, right? Evander Holyfield comes to mind. You look
man, I met Evander out in Cali, man.
No shit, man.
Yeah, they had that facility and that program we were part of. There's a lot of money and a lot of big names that would come through on a regular basis.
The one fighter that comes to mind is, and a lot of people might not know who this guy is. You probably do. His name is Meldrick Taylor. Man. He fought against Julio Cesar Chavez in 1980, and Meldrick Taylor dominated Chavez for 14 rounds and 2 minutes and 55 seconds. It was 5 seconds left, and Chavez dropped him. And Richard Steele was the referee for that fight. And I remember when he talked about the fight, he says, "Listen, Meldrick Taylor definitely dominated Chavez that fight, but Chavez made Taylor pay." And you listen to Meldrick Taylor talk now, it sounds like he doesn't even have a brain. It's just unbelievable, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, dude, okay, so my thoughts on sustaining the damage in the ring.
Right.
I always say this, right? Because people ask me this about the whole CTE thing that was going on with the NFL.
Right.
Everything, right? I say there's a cost to be the boss. Society elevates you to this position when you're an athlete at that level. You get the money, you get the attention, you get the adoration, you get everything you want and need, and all they ask for you is to put your body on the line. Now, if you decide that's worth the price, whatever. But here's and I used to believe that a hard line. I had no sympathy. I was like, you get hurt, you get hurt.
Okay.
And then what changed my mind was watching the movie Concussion and then going and learning how CTE affects fighters, or rather affected the ball players in their lives. I think here's what I believe this in my heart of hearts, whether it is right or wrong, this is what I believe. I think that, okay, I don't care if, you break your leg, you got a funny limp, they come fix your whatever. You know what you were signing up for, and that's why you busted your ass for so many years.
Of course.
With that said, if I think if a fairy could come down and say, "Look, bro, there's an 80% chance you're going to have suicidal tendencies and think about killing yourself or killing your family if you make it to the top. Are you willing to pay that price?" I think there'll be some guys that still will, but I do think a lot of guys will go, "You know what? It's not worth it. Family means too much. My faculties mean too much.
Right.
Who I am and my ability to interact with the world means too much to me." And so so with that said, they've done a lot. Boxing is slow in a lot of areas.
It is. It really is.
One of the areas that they have made pretty good strides. I mean, I'm really proud of the sport, to be honest with you. Is in how they handle fighter safety.
Right.
They're not letting guys just get welled on. The reps are erring on the side of caution as opposed to ticket sales. And I think a lot of that too is the fans now are smarter about it.
Yes.
They know.
Oh yes, they're not stupid, man. They know.
You get guys in there yelling, "Why you can stop the fight at any time?" Why didn't you stop the fight? I think at the end of the day, and you're gonna remember this. I mean, we say a fight is fixed or whatever.
Sure.
I don't really believe that, at least to that degree. But you got to remember, at the end of the day, like you said with Richard Steele when he was interviewed about that whole Meldrick Taylor Chavez fight, they got to sleep with that decision.
Right.
They could have stopped that fight, and it would have kept the guy alive, kept the guy from walking around not knowing. Have you seen somebody? I mean, I seen what the hell is his name? Riddick Bowe, man. He's freaking homeless. I ran Barkley.
What? Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, there was a GoFundMe floating around in the boxing circles for Riddick Bowe.
You gotta be kidding me.
I ran Barkley, was the poster child for washed up athletes. I don't think he's homeless now, but he was just a few years ago.
Get out of here, man.
And that's the other thing. These guys don't have anything else.
Right.
No one comes to boxing like, you know what I'm gonna do? It's gonna be an elective. I'm gonna take social studies, physics, and boxing.
Boxing, right?
Except, I'm
to be great. It's all you have to do, man.
Yeah. That's all they know. So, and that's why boxing is the easiest sport for the athlete to get taken advantage of.
Sure.
Because these guys really ain't got shit. At least with the other big four, the MLB, the NBA, the NHL.
Guaranteed contracts.
For the most part. College degrees and boosters, and they're I think there's a pension plan for now.
Oh, yes. Sports. Better believe it. Yeah. All of that. That's not true for boxing.
Cons of support, not for the box.
How about
that, man? And there's no money in fighting. People don't believe me when I tell them I never made more than 5 figures in a fight. I never had a 5-figure payday. I've had 5-figure paydays from writing on the internet, or rather in a month. Which I think we'll get to in some of the questions you asked.
Sure,
but you don't.
And you didn't have to get your head beat in for that, right?
Right, I just had to share my life. I had to risk my life, of course, on numerous occasions. But it is what it is.
It's interesting. The fighter, and I promise we're gonna move on, guys. I just like I
love you guys who love boxing, man. This is a treat.
Hey, this is the treat for you, man.
I appreciate you sticking around. Just let you know.
Just be patient, guys. We'll get right to you. As far as fighter safety, the one fight that I do remember was Ray Mancini versus Dooku Kim back in 1982 in Las Vegas.
That around. That was in Korea, wasn't it?
I thought it was in Vegas. I thought it was in Las Vegas. Yeah, but Vegas. Mancini dominated Dooku like he did. Like for whatever reason, he could not stop him. And Kim's corner knew Dooku Kim's corner could have stopped the fight. The referee could have stopped the fight, but they let Mancini beat this guy's head in for 15 rounds. Well, of course, after the fight, he goes to a Las Vegas hospital and he dies from brain hemorrhaging. That doesn't happen these days because as soon as a fighter gets in trouble and the ref tells him, listen, you get in trouble one more time and I got to call it.
Right. And they mean it, man. They're not, these guys are not, they're not sleeping with that anymore. And I think that's a good thing because that's a responsibility, man. You get responsible for a guy's life in there.
No, I agree. So are you retired from boxing? Is there a chance that you could get into the ring?
Oh, goodness. Here we go. Talking about that this weekend. Okay. So I was training, really getting ready for this fight coming up. It was going to be my comeback fight. I was really excited. And then I went and jumped in a little too deep in the water before I was ready to swim at that level again. Okay. And the sparring session, welled me up. Got a grade 2 concussion, got a broken hospital. Got a fractured rib. I was in bad shape, especially a few days after. I couldn't. I was tired, but I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't. Anyhow, so I talked to my coach about this, and I always said, I'm not going to listen to anybody who don't know shit.
Of course.
He knows me. He knows what I can do and what I've been. He said, "Look, man, you have so many other talents. For you to stick around in this sport after what you've done and what you've given it and what it's giving you now,
right?
I'll train you, but I don't understand it. Okay. And I think you should go do something else." And when he said that, I said I would listen to it if Tom told me. So Tom told me, and I really sat and I thought about it. And it was my best, and it just so happened it was the best month ever financially for me. Almost 30 online. And on top of that, I had just finished with my degree, so now I've got this newly minted physics degree that grants me all kinds of
perfect storm, man.
I've turned down 2 jobs. The people who just follow me on Twitter were like, "We just wait for you to graduate." I'm like, "Yeah, you're gonna keep waiting, but thank you." But he really made a good point because I'm 33 and I'm a heavyweight and I'm short. Or relatively short. I'm 6'1.5". I
was gonna say, so is Mike Tyson, and he did pretty good.
Yeah, but Mike has a key that he had to do it, man. And he started early, Is there a chance I come back and fight? I said, I'm not gonna fight heavyweight again.
Okay, all right. So you'll come back as a middleweight fight at 190?
If by a healthy twist of fate, I somehow start walking around at 210, because I'm in shape, man. I'm at 235 right now. I'm not just gonna magically get to 210, I think maybe ever, unless it's intentional. And the amount of time and energy it would take, I might like do a chess boxing match because
Sure.
that's cool, and I've always wanted to try that. And that level of competition is not the level of competition I got to fight now.
Right.
And I have to fight. No one, no commission is going to approve me against the scrub with a 13-1 record. Yeah, and they shouldn't, because I know how to fight.
Sure.
I just so right now, I mean, for all intents and purposes, retired. But I'm not saying absolutely, because I have not psychologically ruled out. Like, there's still that, and maybe that's just something that happens to all fighters. They think, oh, one more chance. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm in a really good position in my life.
I was gonna say, I don't think you should, because you don't have to, right? I mean,
yeah, and here's what changed my mind. Like, here's what really did it. I tutor children on the side.
Okay.
And I love it. High schoolers and math and physics, it's a great time. And most people who are in the know of math and science, I don't know your background, they know how to find the roots for a polynomial. That's an easy ass process, right? We got a whole bunch of tools for it.
Okay.
What is less known is how to construct a polynomial from roots. And I was working with her to do it, and I just forgot. And I know how to do it.
Sure.
I just forgot how to do it. And I'm just like, and it was weird because I know how to do it. Like, it's not like I was like having a brain, but I couldn't pull the information. I said, and it was after the concussion, I said, this is scary, because this is the tool I've put so much time and energy into, 5 years of my life, to really build up these skills.
Right.
And I love being able to do math and physics and help and teach. And that is ultimately what I want to do. I don't want to walk around punch drunk. No, the amount of effort I was going to have to put in.
Just not worth it anymore.
Putting in to walk away with a 2,000. At the end of the day, 2,000 after I paid everybody. Yeah. So right now, we're gonna go continue to help people in other ways and teach in other ways, and people really digging my writing and what I'm doing. So I'm not too worried about it. I've experienced incredible growth over the past 18 months and haven't been in the ring once.
Good. So. Very good. Very good. Excellent. 914-205-5356 is the number to call if you want to tell us what's on your mind with special guest Ed Latimore. Right now, I'm going to say goodbye to my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Facebook audience. If you guys want to watch the rest of the show, head on over to donovansharpe.com. That's DONOVANSHARPE.com. I do appreciate you guys tuning in on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. DonovanSharpe.com to watch the rest of the show. Okay, so we've talked about the boxing.